Hello and welcome back to The Fruit of Grisaia. Last episode got a little long and I'm sorry about that. As mentioned, I don't know how long the chapters in the game or story are, but I try to make them fit around half an hour. Of course, I would not end an episode in the midst of a chapter, so that's why it got so long. I apologize for that, but it's something that can happen with how this visual novel is set up. So, last time, Yuji was interviewed by the principal, Tachibana, about how he views the other students. He then had a conversation with the other students about what a best friend is. A conversation that Michiru didn't take all that well and actually seemed to get rather seriously ill from it. Now, let's continue. It's very difficult to use your time off effectively. In particular, when you're in a profession like mine, your holidays tend to be irregular and come with many restrictions on how you can spend them. It's hard to make plans ahead of time, and when you do, they'll be spoiled as often as not. As a result, I tend to use my free days to catch up on sleep, get in extra exercise and read books, things that I can do without the need for any advanced planning or preparation. The major side effect is that I've never been able to form much in the way of a hobby or interest to live in my usual routine. My schedule may have changed once I entered the school, but my mildly pathetic recreational habits remain much the same. And here we have a rare specimen, the dullest human being alive ever. I'm working through the calisthenics routine in the dorm lobby. Amane is providing helpful commentary. Existence is unendurably painful, and yet I can do nothing but go on living. Look, the stage whispers and dramatic sighs are starting to get on my nerves. How about you just come over here and tell me off to my face? Doing Callinistus bright and early on a Saturday morning? Seriously? You're so lame I think I'm gonna puke. For real. I take it back. Do me a favor and stick to sniping behind my back. This is more infuriating than I expected. Seriously, do you really have nothing else to do? I think I can hold my stomach down, but watching this is pretty painful. Amana squats down next to me as she speaks, her face full of pity. Give me a break here. It's better than sitting around doing nothing at all, don't you think? Well, I guess, but it's Saturday. You only get one a week. Can't you come up with any other way to spend your free time? This woman can be such a pain in the ass at times. Bringing my calisthenics to a halt for the moment, I stand up to turn and face Amane. Alright then, as you're clearly a professional woman of leisure, Miss Amane, please teach me exactly how to make delightful use of my Saturdays. I'm all ears. What? Very simple question, Amane. How do you spend your own free time? Look, it ain't hard. He just wants the foremost expert on living every moment to the fullest weekend adventure supreme, Sue Amane. To grace him with her thoughts on how to enjoy a day of delightful leisure. Not you too. What's with the cheap imitation anyway? Adventure! Defloration! Her flower is in full bloom. Would it be okay for me to karate chop her in the nose at this point? Don't ask me. So, how do you spend your weekends, Amane? Are we still talking about that? Since you go around calling people dull human beings, I'm sure you have some really interesting hobbies yourself, right? Spit it out. I'm sure they're perfect. Probably got a few cover articles in Adult Leisure magazine by now. Come on, lay it on us. Makina, you're going to pay for this later. My hobbies are, cleaning, laundry, and cooking, I guess. I drop my hands abruptly on Amane's shoulders. I'm afraid you've made a serious mistake here, my friend. Please allow me to explain in detail. Sorry, okay, yes, I know, so please just stop it. The things you just listed are not what we'd call hobbies. No, please say no more. Firmly maintaining my grip on Amane as she squirms around violently, I stare into her eyes, plaster on a fake smile, and deliver a blow of truth. Those are chores. No, I know, stop rubbing salt in my wounds. Amane at last escaped from my grasp. Collapsing to her knees, she hangs her head in shame. Magane trots over to Amane's side and gives her back a few commiserating thumps. Don't take it too hard, kid. I bet you'll find something worth living for one of these days. So for now, you just hang in there and be the very best housewife you can be, alright? That karate job is getting more tempting by the second. Well, you're the one raising the girl. Discipline her as you see fit. Anyway, with this level of instruction, it doesn't seem likely I'm going to find myself a hobby worth being proud of anytime soon. What are you all squawking about out here? Thanks so much for waking me up at the crack of dawn. Michiru arrives on the scene. She's obviously been awake for several hours already. Probably thought our noise was a good excuse to be nippy. By the way, nippy would be Kansai slang for someone with a desperate need to stick their nose into other people's conversations. I've been picking up a bit of this stuff from Amane lately. We were busy mocking Yuji for being a dull human being. The guy has no hobbies whatsoever. Hobbies? Yep. I don't have anything particularly worthwhile to occupy my leisure time, which they decided to pester me about. True, you don't seem like to have any interest. I kinda picture you looking at yourself in your room, then doing push-ups and arm stands all weekend, using a single thumb. I understand what you mean, but at that point, wouldn't that technically be a finger stand, rather than an arm stand? Qa'Rajh's got a hobby though, touching herself. Hey, what the heck are you saying? Well, when it comes to stuff I can picture Qa'Rajh doing on a daily basis, that's pretty much the only thing that comes to mind. Mookie! You don't know me? Of course I don't do that every single day. Not everyone in this place is a sex-crazed monkey, got it? So it's not a daily thing, huh? But I notice you don't deny doing it at all. Well, hey look! Can we not have this discussion in front of Yuji? Oh, personally I'm not ashamed to admit the truth. Why, just yesterday I started thinking about Yuji and... Stop that sentence right now! Also, that come hither voice is banned. Yuji, talk some sense into this girl. Sorry, but what exactly am I supposed to say here? Just tell her to stop talking about all of this dirty stuff. This is messed up, right? So, Qa'Rajh, how many times per week? Ever gotten off to Yuji? What sort of fantasy was it? Poor Qa'Rajh, poor Michiru. My, this sounds fun. Are we discussing Michiru-sama's self-pleasuring habits? Ah, that's it! I'm gonna blow this whole building sky high! Michiru-sama, blowing up a structure of this size would require significant expertise as well as the access to fairly powerful explosives. I don't think it's a practical means of resolving your problems, whatever they may be. Yes, thanks so much. I did know that. I really wish you would stop taking every figure of speech literally. I apologize, Michiru-sama. It seemed like something you really might think of. Whoa! Try to keep it down, will you? Well, since I come here, I guess my leisure time has been increasingly filled with this sort of boisterous, trivial chat. Even in that alone, I think I've gained something from entering this school. By the way, where's Sakaki? Considering the topic of our conversation, I don't think she'd be sticking around for long even if she did drop by, but I haven't seen our box cutter girl even once today. At a glance, her normal reserved seat, next to the pillar at the edge of the lobby, doesn't seem to have been disturbed recently. She's out today. Yes, she left the dome very early this morning, carrying a large tote bag. How early are we talking about? Well, I had only just got up myself, so a little after 5 AM, perhaps. Yeah, that's clear. That's early any way you look at it. It's one thing if you're a compulsive morning runner like me, but most people aren't going to wake up at that hour on a Saturday. Grade schoolers with their radio exercises or old men doing Tai Chi for their blood pressure, maybe? Wonder what she had in that bag. A good question. Perhaps it was packed full of spare box cutters. That girl's a mystery as always. Didn't we already have this discussion, come to think of it? In this very place, if I remember correctly. We did, now that you mention it. Amana's word brings to mind the previous Sakaki incident set off after a round of scary stories in the lobby. That affair shed light on one aspect of Sakaki's true nature, but not a particularly large or revealing one, and I haven't gained any further insight since. Sakaki's private life is as mysterious as always. As soon as we get back from school, she tends to lock herself up in her room. On the rare occasion she does poke her head outside, she actively evades any real attempt at conversation. Now there's a question. How about Sakaki? What does she do with her free time? I'm not that caught up on actually finding an answer to this question, but I can't deny that the contrast between the shameless openness of this bunch and Sakaki's cloak of secrecy leaves me slightly interested. Touching herself, maybe? Can you please drop that subject already? What blasphemy! Underneath the great and beautiful cycle of existence, the journey from cradle to grave, lies the foundation of sexual pleasure. The orgasm is life itself, you know? Oh, Machina, where did we go wrong? I feel your pain, but this is reality. Grin and bear it, alright? Maybe this is my fault. I think I may have to start wearing less revealing clothes. So, anyway, Yumiko's got her nose in a book in the classroom, so wouldn't her hobby be reading? I don't believe so. Huh? Why not? Sakaki-san's reading is frequently a little more than a pretense. More often than not, she's merely going through the motions. I've noticed her repeating the same few pages many times over. Sometimes she forgets even to turn the pages. It's not uncommon for her to be carrying the same book for quite some time. You're observant, Sachi. Bizarrely so. Well, Maki-chan requested as much, so I spent quite some time watching Sakaki-san. Wait, is she talking about the time we investigated Sakaki? I thought our mission was wrapped up after we succeeded in startling the girl, exposing her scaredy cat nature and generally making life miserable for her. But apparently Sachi was still on observation duty. Sachin's investigative skills are without peer, you know. I'm sure they are, so try not to waste them on stupid crap, alright? At any rate, it seems like the bookworm theory is fairly dubious. Maybe she practices knife tricks. What, because of her box cutter thing? You're just being lazy now. Come on, what else is there? There are exactly 4 things I've ever seen that girl doing. Walking, sitting, reading, and slashing around with a box cutter. When you describe her that concisely, Sakaki really does seem quite the film character, doesn't she? Well, whatever, she's a human just like the rest of us. Probably spends her time hoarding porn. I think we were talking about leisure time and hobbies here, but somehow the topic of the discussion seems to have shifted to Sakaki's sex life. How did that happen exactly? Seems natural enough to me. When you got too much free time on your hands and nothing to do with it, playing with yourself is the first thing that comes to mind, right? Either way, I'll maintain a close eye on Sakaki-san and report any further developments. Okay, Sashi, that's not necessary. Really, truly not necessary. Very well, in that case, I'll discontinue the operation. The last thing we need is nonsense leading to something troublesome and making things awkward in the dorm. If Sakaki wants to talk, she'll do so in her own time. It's not like I have any pressing need to know more about her, so I'm not going to pry when she wants to be left alone. Ah crap, I got a load of laundry I forgot to put in the dryer. Gotta go, guys. Amane patters off toward her room. Sachi and Makina rise off the couch and follow suit. But before I can get up myself, Michiru sidles up with an inquiring look on her face. Why do you ask anyway? You want to know more about Yumiko? No, not particularly. I only stuck around because I'd been planning to continue my calisthenics. But Michiru ignores my answer to a question, draws her own conclusion, and forges ahead with this one-sided excuse for a conversation. Well, if you're that curious what she's getting up to, why don't you ambush her at the entrance one morning and ask? Not that I care. I have better things to do with my time. Huh? Weren't you just complaining that you had nothing to do with your time, like all 5 minutes ago? If you want to talk down to me, I suggest you find a less self-indulgent hobby first, Michiru. Oh my god, will you drop that already? I'll end you! Michiru-sama, is that true? Touching yourself really is your hobby? Well, life's a long and twisty road. Sometimes you have a face like that. Play with yourself to your heart's content, my friend. Just try to work on thinking up something else to do with your life in between sessions. Ah! Would a bolt of thunder be so kind as to fall from the sky and fry this girl's mouth shut? Clawing furiously at her blonde head, Michiru shrieks a desperate entity to the heavens. In the end, our discussions about Sakaki's private life was diverted into the usual headache-inducing nonsense before we could reach any real conclusions. Not that it was a topic of especially great interest to me in the first place. A few sets of push-up later, and I've mostly forgotten about the whole thing. Got a bit of transition there. Guess I'm up a bit early. Probably because yesterday had been a fairly light day, I found myself awake earlier than usual. It's not like that's a bad thing though. More time for a little calisthenics before my run. Hobbies, huh? As I run through my stretches, I find myself thinking about the conversation we had here yesterday. I guess dull is in fact an objectively appropriate word for someone who uses all his free time to exercise. From a conventional viewpoint, training your body might well qualify as a hobby of sorts, but in my case, I'm maintaining a tool I need for my profession. Training is just a part of the job for me. So yes, I basically have no hobbies. I think my personality is mostly to blame. Nothing really tends to capture my interest that strongly or for that long. On that point, I may have something in common with Sakaki. By all appearances, she keeps everything and everyone at arm's length, mainly because she decidedly is uninterested in learning more. Come to think of it, didn't they say Sakaki... With the sentence halfway out my mouth, I sensed someone behind me and turned to face them. Ah! Sakaki is standing by the entrance, staring at me in surprise. There's a bulky tote bag lying at her feet. I can tell at a glance that it's stuffed full of various items. I catch a glimpse of thin wooden objects sticking out at the top. You're early. For what? I mean, you woke up early, of course. At this point, the conversation from yesterday comes to mind again. The others mentioned Sakaki's habit of leaving the dorm early in the morning by herself. Apart from the large bag she always carries on these trips, no one has any clue as to what she's getting up to. Not that I'm particularly interested, but the flow of the conversation seems to call for a little light probing. You're up early yourself, Sakaki. What are you off to? I tried to phrase the question pretty casually. It certainly didn't sound too pushy coming out of my mouth. I honestly was just trying to draw her into a little small talk, but... Sakaki purses her lips for a moment before she speaks. It seems to me that what I do is no one's business but my own. The sentence she finally fires off somehow manages to be simultaneously sharp and blunt. What we got here, Sakaki, is a failure to communicate. What are you talking about? I asked, where are you off to? And you responded, what I do is no one's business. That's the answer to a slightly different question. You were probably feeling self-conscious about whatever it is you were going off to do and ended up mishearing what I was asking. You have a very unpleasant habit of picking at people's words. Sadly, it's not really a habit. I was born this way. Anyway, please drop the subject. I don't want to talk about it. Alright, I won't ask you about this again. What? Sakaki's face filled with genuine confusion. She is clearly surprised by this ready concession to her demand. Alright, I'll be on my way. Yep, see you later. Sorry to bother you. As Sakaki heads for the exit, I turn around and begin my calisthenics again. But as I'm sitting on the floor and beginning to stretch out my arms, I realize that I haven't heard her leave the building yet. What's up? You need something? It's nothing. Sakaki throws the open door in apparent irritation and immediately leaves the door. Talk about fishy. What on earth could she be up to? I want to know what she's got in that bag. I still think it's spare weapons. What? Were you watching? You all got too much time on your hands. Within seconds of Sakaki's exit, the other four emerged from their hiding places around the lobby. Don't tell me you actually went out of your way to wake up early so you could watch her leave. Amane does the best impression of a mischievous child caught with one hand in the cookie jar. It's kind of unpleasant to watch. You know, after that discussion yesterday, I kinda couldn't help myself. It seems everyone had similar thoughts. Get it together, Yuji. If you pushed a little there, Yumiko obviously would have spilled the beans. Sorry, but I'm just not that interested. In the first place, if it was something Sakaki would feel uncomfortable talking about, I'm sure she would have responded differently to my casual question. That blunt refusal to talk probably means she has her reasons for keeping her activities to herself. I'm not so irrepressibly curious as to pester her on a sensitive topic, especially when she's not going to reveal anything anyway.
That bag is the key. I bet she's got a folding angel wings and weird glow sticks and a big wig in there. Yumi-chan's going out to cosplay in secret.
Oh, your grounds for this deduction?
Well, she's such a boring, quiet character normally, you know. I'm sure she wants to let her hair down on the weekends, but she already wears it long, right? Hence a bright pink wig. Elementary, what do you think?
Amane, if you'd be so kind as to shut her up now. Daddies who push all the discipline onto mommy tend to not have happy marriages, you know. What shall we do, Kasami-san? If you'd like to reinitiate the surveillance operation, I can get started right away. No, I don't think there's any reason to put your ninja skills to test today.
Come on, that's no fun.
If you want to know that badly, Michiro, go tail her yourself, one-on-one.
Okay.
Send Michiro on a mission like that, and I think it'll come out to bare steel within minutes. I believe this will end in tears and blood. I'm concerned for your safety, Michiro-sama, but I feel bound to respect the path you have chosen to walk. I will strengthen my resolve.
I didn't say a single frickin' thing about doing this. Don't strengthen your resolve until I tell you it needs strengthening. Got it? It'll be okay, Chiro. You got lives to spare. She might cut you into 3 pieces or so, but within moments, the segment will begin their new lives as Nero, Michiro A, B, and C. Am I a planarian, Machina? Don't answer that. The answer is no, I'm not a planarian.
Look, I'd really like to exercise at some point, if you don't mind. Poor Yuji. It's not easy. Yo. Later that same day, shortly after finishing my outdoor training, I happened to be doing some cool-down exercises in the dorm lobby just as Sakaki returns. She's holding her bag in the shadow cast by her own body, as if consciously trying to hide it away from view. Sorry about this morning. First off, an apology for my earlier rudeness seems called for. Right. Sakaki offers a vague non-response, squirming awkwardly where she stands. Alright, I'll see you later. I turn around, away, and restart my kinematics. But Sakaki doesn't move a muscle. Sakaki? When I call out to her for the second time, Sakaki flinches in surprise, then shoots me a fierce glance. It's nothing. Nothing at all. Just leave it be. Clearly talking to herself rather than me, she stomps off in the direction of her room. Well, after Sakaki's vanished from view, I'm still staring after her. Oh, well after her, sorry. The girl might not have said much, if anything, to me just now, but it's obvious that she is strangely tense. Wonder if something's wrong. As I'm puzzling over the matter, a certain woman of unusual proportions appears out of nowhere. Kinda seemed like Sakaki-san wanted to talk there, from what I saw. Amane approaches me with a knowing smirk on her face. Oh yeah? I didn't get that feeling personally. That's because you're fundamentally thick-headed, Yuji. Rather than sitting on the sofa, Amane drops herself cross-legged onto the ground. Drawing her face close to me as I exercise, as if to give me a whiff of her perfume, she continues. So, what do you think? Got a little bit more interest in Sakaki-san? Sorry, exactly what in the conversation just now suggested that to you? That apathetic attitude of yours seemed kinda tactical. You know, like you were trying to wait Sakaki-san out, frustrate her into talking to you first. I don't know about you, but I don't approach my relationships with other people as if they were a fish I'm trying to catch. Oh, come on now, that's not me either. I'm all about the frontal attacks. Fits my personality much better, you know. True. Full frontal certainly seems to be more plausible in your case. Sorry I misjudged you. I don't think you even mean that for it to happen half the time, Yuji, but you really know how to make people want to hit you. Sadly, I was born this way. I do wonder what's going on with Sakaki-san. Doesn't rejecting everyone around you get kind of lonely and painful? Well, I guess being alone is the less painful choice sometimes.
Alright, we're done for today.
Stand. The weekend behind us, we're back in the classroom. As the day's lesson reached their conclusion, Sachi leads us in the formal bow that marks the end of every school day. The weekdays are nice and simple. Given a set schedule, I can coast peacefully through it without having to worry about how I'm spending my time, or about being insulted over my lack of interest. I shoulder my bag and leave the classroom. After dropping my stuff off in my room, I found myself heading to the roof of the dormitory for no reason in particular. When I can't think of anything to do with myself, sometimes I search out places where I can be alone and look at the sky. I wouldn't say that I prefer the solitude, but every once in a while I'm seized with the need to get a break from the clamor of daily life, which has been very noisy indeed lately. As I swing the door slowly open, I realize there's someone already on the roof. The instant I set foot outside, she's staring at me with slightly suspicious look on her face. You again? Sorry, but we do live in the same building. We're going to run into each other sometimes. I wasn't particularly accusing you of anything. So, can I come up? You don't need my permission. Having obtained Sakaki's assent, I stand beside the handrail and gaze up into the sky. It's a vivid shade of blue today. The sun shines powerfully down on us. I can feel heat rising off the iron railing in front of me. After a moment, Sakaki turns to me and breaks the silence. Hey. Yes? Are you sleeping on your feet? No, I'm awake. You were so quiet, I thought otherwise. Would you prefer me to talk about something? Or ask you questions? No, that's not necessary. I see. In that case, I guess I'll do what I feel like. Sakaki tilts her head back slightly and gazes into the sky for a long moment. Her long hair catches the sea breeze and flutters like a flag. Do you come up here frequently? Why do you ask? We run into each other here before. True, now that you mention it. I lean forward and grip the warm iron railing with both hands as I speak. Every once in a while, I guess. Just look at the sky by myself. Really? That's a bit hard to believe. It really is once in a while. Anyway, that's the only reason I come up here. I see. Everyone has times they want to be alone, right? Are you insinuating something? No, we're talking about me here. The sunlight today really is powerful. Very much a midsummer day. The shadow of a kite flying overhead moves slowly across the roof, wings and beak clearly defined against concrete. As I follow the shadow's movement with my eyes, Sakaki blurts out unexpected words. You don't plan to ask, do you? About what? What I do outside on the weekends. Sakaki turns her face ever so slightly toward me as she speaks. Wouldn't you usually ask after you saw me leaving at that hour? Yeah, I did ask, remember? But since then, you haven't mentioned it at all. You told me you didn't want me to talk about it, so I haven't brought it up since then. Huh? If you changed your mind about that, I assumed you'd let me know. I'm not looking to stick my nose in other people's business. I turn my head slightly towards Sakaki, meeting her gaze out of the corner of my eye. With the exception of when somebody wants me to. That policy isn't limited to Sakaki. I'm trying not to interfere with any of the students here more than necessary. I don't dislike any of them, and I don't have any reason to go out of my way to avoid them, but all the same, I don't have any reason to get closer to them. That said, when they're the ones approaching me, there's no need to reject them either. I'm trying to maintain that subtle balance as my master taught me. Sakaki stares steadily at my face. Her expression lies somewhere between puzzlement and curiosity. I don't know what's gotten her interest all of a sudden, but it's clearly different from her usual apathetic gaze. What is it? At my question, Sakaki exhales lightly and closes her eyes. It's nothing. Sakaki abruptly walks away from the railing and heads for the stairs. Halfway there, she pauses briefly and looks back in my direction. I'll be going back to my room. Right. At my concise response, Sakaki's expression again takes a shade of amusement. You really are not one, you know that? For some reason, I get that a lot. Honestly, can't understand why. For a moment, there's a rare smile on Sakaki's face. Aww. She's adorable when she makes that face. Goodbye. Yeah. Sakaki opens the iron door and disappears inside the door. The guide I've been watching draws a lazy arc in the sky, as if it were to wave farewell, then floats out of sight. The sun begins to slow descend toward the horizon as the evening approaches. I push myself back from the railing and walk slowly toward the stairs, feeling the sun-warmed concrete underneath my feet. An odd one, huh? Don't know if you're the one to talk. Her hypocrisy is kind of charming. It feels like I've been lectured about drinking too much by an alcoholic. For some reason, I feel like I've warmed up to Sakaki a bit. Maybe we got more in common than I realized. And we shall see what happens at Mishima Cape in the next episode. So, until then, take care.